Hey, welcome to Fablecraft Friday. I'm Joey from Riftweaver, and we're going to talk about our newly tweaked roadmap. So we have a living roadmap for Fablecraft. That means that we are ready and able to change things as development sort of changes and evolves, and our timelines shift in order to meet the needs of you, our community. We're always listening. We try to always respond to feedback whenever we can. And so we have to reshuffle, reorganize our roadmap, maybe cut some things, add some things in order to satisfy what you folks want out of Tales of Fablecraft and what we're trying to do to achieve its ultimate form, or our long-term vision. So the good news is our vision and what you folks want typically matches up pretty closely. There's some variety here and there, but we want the same thing out of this game that you folks do in almost all cases, and that's good things for both of us. The Fablecraft you want is the Fablecraft we want. So without further ado, let's take a look at this roadmap. Before we start talking, I do have a cold, if you can't tell, so I'm sorry for a little bit of that nasaliness that you may not be used to hearing from me. So anyway, let's look at the roadmap that has been updated now that we are in December of 2024. Okay, so we're going to cruise down this roadmap and talk about what's coming in the near term and what's coming in the further near term. This represents roughly the next 6 months of work. It is not inclusive of everything that we're doing for Fablecraft, and it is really probably going to get murkier as we get further down into later in 2025. I would say that none of this stuff is really representative of post the next summer, right? So the things that you see here really aren't reflecting what we're planning on doing next fall. It's more kind of the first half of the year. And also the remainder of this one. There's still time in 2024 left. We have one more update plan for Fablecraft between now and when we run away for the holidays into the winter wonderland that is the Northern Hemisphere, and I guess the Southern Hemisphere's summer wonderland for one of our team members anyway. So let's talk about the remainder of the month of the year of 2024. We have an in-game lore guide coming, homebrew video support, that's the environments, the backgrounds, right? Homebrew battle maps, NPC copy and customize, and this Nice Dice campaign settings toggle. We'll be talking about that Nice Dice campaign settings toggle and homebrew battle maps next week, so stay tuned for that. When we hit Fablecraft Friday, we'll be revealing more of what those two features mean. Obviously, you know what homebrew battle maps are, but the Nice Dice is something kind of cool that we think our community will really like. Stepping into Q1 of 2025, we've got our first major change. The iPhone launch will happen in Q1. Q1 runs roughly from January 1 until the end of March 31st. Not roughly, that's what Q1 is. So we're hoping to get on the iPhone in that time frame. That's our current plan. Now this is new because previously we had the iPad and Android tablet launches closer together. We've decided to split those apart. We're still bound for Android tablets and mobile devices, but because we're already working in the iOS ecosystem, it's much easier for us to continue our port work on the iOS platform and get to mobile. So we're coming to iPhone next. It may delay Android a little bit, but it's faster overall for us to complete the port work from PC and Mac down to tablet and then phone if we stick within one platform. So we're going to hit the iPhone first, and then later in 2025, which we'll get to in a second, we'll be on Android tablet and then Android mobile devices. Okay, so High Society is also coming in Q1. That's unchanged. We're also bringing in the first iteration of multiplayer matchmaking. So we have a two-step process plan for this. Like, we have a version 1 of multiplayer matchmaking that we want to make possible inside Fablecraft, and then we have a version 2. Both of them are going to be larger lifts. They're big feature changes for us, but the first one we think is a better service to our current community, and the latter will be better to what we hope our community is come the time that we actually release that second version of multiplayer matchmaking later in 2025. So, of course, stay tuned for that. We'll be talking more about that multiplayer matchmaking stuff down the line. We're also going to be doing the location pinging feature that folks have requested. This is where you can just click somewhere on the screen and send a ping signal to all players, kind of to like point something out on a battle map or maybe a story scene. We also know that players love playing Fablecraft in text-only groups, right? Like maybe they don't want to use the video or voice features in Fablecraft or on Discord. We're aware that people like this, and we're working to make some improvements to the system to make text play more friendly, more functional for these types of players. So we hear you, we know you're there. We're working to make it better for you. We also plan to have some daily single-player content coming. Think about the arena, that solo player mode that we have now. If we're on mobile, we want to give something to players to do when they're by themselves. Maybe they're not with others. Maybe they want to boot and play for a little bit as they're on a train or a bus or in the bathroom. I don't know. But that's what we want to give players for the single-player experience too. We also have some subscription support planned. So subscriptions, we'll talk a lot more about this. We've always had these kind of in the background as something we want to do. If you've been with us for a long time, you know that it's our intention to keep subscriptions super cheap. Like, we don't want to break the bank with these things for you folks. It's just to kind of support and offset server costs for us, while also supporting our team. Like, we need money to make Fablecraft work and run and enhance the experience for everyone. And so the trade-off will be a small subscription fee for some cool features that GMs and players can use. And we hope you like what we have planned. We're trying to create something that's friendly for both of us, really, not exploitative. That's our hope. And that's the wrap for Q1 2025. There's more stuff that we have planned for this 3-month gap, but this is what we can announce and label for now. If you look later in 2025, this is after that March 31st date, so starting in April, probably through the first 6 months of the year, maybe a little bit after, depending on how development work goes. First up, we have those Android, tablet, and phone launches. Those, again, are going to be split. Tablet's going to come first, then phone, quite similar to the iPhone and iPad process that we're working through now. We also have a fully customizable GMG. Players want to be able to hop in and create a top-to-bottom narrative that runs in the same way that our Game Master Guides currently run. And so we're going to be taking that system that we have now and giving it to GMs and letting them build their own stuff. The version 2 of multiplayer matchmaking is releasing later in 2025. Single-player rewards. So we have that daily single-player content plan, but now we're going to tie it to some reward systems so that people can play and actually get cool cosmetics and stuff. We think that might be a fun way to get folks, a little extra value out of playing Fablecraft every day or every other day or whatever. We have localization planned later in 2025, as well as custom inventory items. That's that homebrew items and equipment. Font size customization. We know some folks play this on smaller and bigger screens, and so the font needs to change. That's a big UI lift to be able to make sure that font size can scale and none of our dialog boxes in Windows break down, and a lot more. That's the roadmap. It's a lot. We're going to dive into these specific features as we get closer. So that's what these weekly dev blogs and vlogs are for. Fablecraft Friday is here so that we can dive into this stuff, tell you folks more about how it's going to work and our plans. And so we hope you appreciate them. We hope you like the transparency that we're trying to offer here as we move through development. This is what early access is to us. It's you folks giving us feedback and us trying to respond as well as we can with our small team and relatively limited resources as we make our way through development and into 1.0. So if you want to join and maybe talk to us about this more and about Fablecraft's development, you can always do so on our Discord. That's discord.gg/Fablecraft, or you can do it on our feature upvote site. That's fablecraft.featureupvote.com. Thank you for being here. This is a relatively quick video, but we did cover a lot of stuff on the roadmap. We'll see you next week. A quick word of housekeeping, and I'll talk about this more. We are actually closed for the Christmas and New Year break, so we have I think it's like a week and a half off. That means we'll go 1, maybe 2 weeks without a Fablecraft Friday, but I'll make sure those things are announced well in advance, so before we leave, we'll let you know that we're leaving before we go. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a mage of Mythos, and we'll see you soon.